Yes.
Nice to see you after a long time.
Yeah.
Welcome.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
Ma'am?
Ramya? Yeah.
Yes, ma'am. Ma'am, Kode, can you please make Kode as co-host, ma'am?
Yeah. I made her, no?
Very good, ma'am. We welcome you for our faculty development program. We actually missed you the previous session, which was held during the month of January. But we are happy that you are here with us for the second session. Dr. Napinning Seren, she is a counseling psychologist, founder of Saiha Brain and Behavior Clinic. Ma'am is a renowned counseling psychologist, clinical psychologist, marital counseling, and educational psychologist, and she has an experience of around 16 years in these fields. She has completed her PhD from University of Madras in 2007 and MPhil Psychology from University of Madras. She is also a certified hypnotherapy and transactional analysis. Dr.
Ramya? You are not audible. Network? Yeah. Can I continue? Yeah. Ma'am, am I audible, ma'am?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah. So, Ramya ma'am had some network issue. I will continue introducing ma'am. She has a long resume. We have tried to fit it into a one-page PPT slide. So, Dr. Napinai used to do counseling of boys and girls students with the emphasis of physical fitness, health, nutrition, and balanced usage of social networks, which is very much important now. She is working in Meenakshi Medical College, visiting Faculty of Science and Humanities, SRM Institute of Science and Technology. Served 2 terms as member of Social Welfare Board, executive member of ARPP, ethical committee member of ESIC, VIT Chennai, and guest lecturer. She has given so many guest lectures for SCARF mental health diploma course, and she is interview panelist in IOCL. She is founder of Saiha Brain and Behavior Clinic. Some of the services provided by Dr. Napinai are cognitive behavioral therapy, pregnancy problems, anger management, family problems, and concentration problems, etc. We are very happy to have you here, ma'am, today to mentor our participants who are here from yesterday morning. Every day they have 3-hour session, 3 different sessions, each of 2 hours duration, and they are very much enthusiastic and listening to people of different domains. Now it is the screen is yours. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Will I be able to share the screen? You'll make me the co-host too?
You are co-host already, ma'am.
Yeah. Are you able to see my screen?
Yes, ma'am. Yeah. Full
Can
screen.
you see my screen? Okay.
Full screen. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay. Great thanks to Dr. Bhuvamal, who's been really wanting me to do this. As she rightly said, in January, we were planning to do this, and unfortunately, due to a mishap in the family, I was not able to join. But today, when she said, I said, yes, I have to do it because I've already given my word. And SRM, as she rightly said, I've been working with the FSH now because students are not there, I don't come there. But it is certainly close to me and a very good topic too. I know that 2 days you've been jam-packed with information. Too much of information I know is getting into your brain and a lot of thinking. People were even asking questions that they're not able to go to the link. How do they access the case study, everything. Today I thought I will take it very light. Somewhere at the end, after a heavy meal, you just want something very light so that you can digest what you have taken and you can also enjoy what you have taken. In the process, my role is just to facilitate you to become good mentors, which you are already. Not that only after me talking, you're going to become mentors. Nobody can say, I don't have a mentor. I will tell you that it is never like that. Never can you think, I don't have a mentor. Probably we've never recognized a mentor because we are looking a mentor as a person who can guide you for a long term or in a long way in an explicit manner. Not necessary. Mentoring could be one small activity which you look at the person and learn from the person. To mentor does not mean only by your profession. As a human being, by every small act of yours, you can be mentored by others. Say, for example, you could have a student who might behave. I remember, I'm just recalling, say 19, 20 years before, I was working abroad as a psychology teacher. But before I joined as a psychology teacher, they wanted me to handle health sciences for class 5. I was wondering where am I? Because in abroad, till they get the teacher, they will definitely post you in some other place where you have no option. Because it's a Indian school and we have to cooperate with what they say. So I was teaching them for one term, if I'm right, or even more than a term. I remember one student coming and asking, I'm telling this even in the year 95. Now you understand how many years have passed. He came to me and asked me, he's a very obedient boy, class 5, class 5, extremely obedient child, very well behaved, soft spoken. I think I've given him marks and normally he gets the first mark. He got the first mark this time too. Probably he expected something more and it was lesser. So he never came and asked me, ma'am, where I went wrong, because in abroad, when it's an international school, you cannot expect much because we have children from various parts of the globe coming to us. I know when my psychology students, they used to smoke in the canteen, they used to drink in the canteen. We never had the audacity to go and tell them, why are you smoking, this is bad, because they were from Russia. It was accepted. They were from Philippines. It was accepted. So you can't expect proper manners, or like how today of course it's not there, but then how we were with our teachers. Even today, if you see your teacher, you'll stand up. That is one behavior that you have. So this boy walked up to me and said, madam, can you please tell me what I should have written to get full marks here? He never asked me, why you didn't give me full marks? I'm telling you, this happened in 95 and it is still strong in my mind. That is mentoring. It is a small behavior that I learned from the boy, which is sculpting me every day to become a proper mentor. So when I talk to my students, I don't say, why you didn't get full marks? What is wrong with you? Instead, I try to highlight the positive in the person and say, what you could have done. Instead of saying, why you did this, what you could have done better. So that is very important in mentoring, because we are assuming mentoring is a long process. It is about your profession or it is about your problem. No, it is about small activities in life. Now, if I ask you, do you have a mentor? Everybody will say yes. Otherwise, everybody will know, ma'am. In those days, there was nobody who was educated to mentor me. I came on my own. I am Suyambhu, ma'am. All that. Yes. But now, if I ask you, do you have a mentor? You will think back and you'll have many people to listen. So please don't think we never had a mentor and we are only mentoring our students. No, we always have a mentor. Till the day we die, we will have a mentor. Just that we are forgetting to look at them as our mentors. We are taking them as yet another person in their life. No, they are people who are shaping you. Every day they are shaping you become bigger and bigger. You're swelling with information, you're swelling with knowledge, you're swelling with discipline, you're swelling with productivity only because of your mentors. So with this, I want to make you understand that all of us are mentors, and don't ever think we don't have a mentor, and learn to recognize even the small person who mentors you in their small. It could be somebody you see on road who waits in the queue. They're all mentoring us. Now, I think from today, we will start recognizing and acknowledging their activity of mentoring. Okay, now, what is mentoring precisely? That is another confusion. Most of us don't know what is mentoring, or we have a confusion about mentoring. It is a process, of using specially selected and trained individuals to provide guidance, pragmatic advice, and continuing support that will help the people in their learning and developmental process. So they're teaching you how to, train yourself, how to give guidance to somebody in a continuous process, as I was telling, so that you develop. Infosys Narayana Murthy is supposed to be one of the best mentor. You can take Abdul Kalam to be the best mentor. You can take actor Vivek to be a good mentor because he helped in planting trees. You can have Gandhiji. You have so many people, I'm telling, from the top to the lowest person whom you meet. Your mate could be a good mentor. So to become a mentor, you are doing your part to ensure that what today's students have, the tool and support that they will need to succeed. So as a faculty, as a teacher, you are mentoring your children, your students, so that they have the ability or the capability to achieve and become successful in whatever they do. Whatever they do, they must be successful. I'm again quoting. I had a teacher when I was in class 10. We used to walk, dragging our slippers. She never came and she was our botany teacher by name, Mrs. Chaco. She's still alive and we do connect to her. She came and told me, girls, this is not how princes walk. Yeah, you are a prince. Tomorrow you'll become a queen. So walking was taught in the form of mentoring. So today, every time I walk with my head up and I think I'm a queen walking. So that is where you are teaching your students to utilize their ability or capability as the tools of success, which is what you are doing, but I'm just highlighting what you're doing. In Mahabharata, we had Arjuna was being mentored by Sri Krishna. He was the first psychotherapist. Krishna was the first psychotherapist who told Arjuna, do what you need to do. He advised him to take things in the right direction. Maybe you're fighting with your uncle. Maybe you're fighting with your grandfather. You're fighting with your Guru Dronacharya who taught you the skill. He's also taught you everything. So he said, in every step, Krishna not only mentored by asking him what to do and how to do, rather he clarified his doubts. This is very, very important. Why we say Krishna is a mentor is not just saying do it, do like this, do like that. No, he clarified his doubt because Arjuna asked, how can I wage a war against my guru? How can I fight against my grandfather? How can I fight against my brother? So every time the mentor is a person who will help you to clarify your doubts either by answering or by making you think deeper. So don't think you must ask them or you must give them an answer immediately. Not necessary. By even posting another question, you are making them go deeper, which is the greatest form of mentoring. Rather than just giving them a solution, ask them to read more about it, question more about it, clarify their doubts about it, which will help them go deeper into what they're doing rather than being superficial. So Socrates mentored to Pluto. Pluto mentored to Aristotle. Annie Besant to Krishnamurti. Gopalakrishna Gokhale to Nauroji, who mentored Mahatma Gandhi. Gandhi, of course, mentored many people, and few among them were Martin Luther King and Nelson Mandela. Vikram Sarabhai, who mentored Abdul Kalam. These are few people, and I know there are untold people in this history. Ghazini Mohammed had a spider to mentor him. There were so many people who mentored, but names unknown. These are few people whom we know. So what does a mentor do? What is the role of a mentor? They help you to improve your social skills. I will tell you, my dear friends, today all of us are very intelligent. Marks, they will get the best. But I see there is immense failure in social skills. And that is the problem which is cropping today in the form of interpersonal relationship. In workplace, they are not able to get along with anybody because they lack in this social skills. This is very, very important. So when you mentor, remember it is not only in your subject, because I'm telling you, I learned walking from a teacher. You know, it is something that all of us did. Maybe even our parents would have told, don't drag and walk. Why are you walking like this? It is irritating. But she called me and she said, you're a princess. Tomorrow you'll become a queen. Do you think queens will walk like this? Today, whenever I walk, I think I'm a queen. And when somebody drags, I can call them and say, you're a princess. Imagine when I studied in school. Yeah. Now I'm able to recall that moment where she said, this is not how you do. Till date, I had a chemistry teacher, Mrs. Vimala Ernest. She never wanted us to put our, the acid bottle caps raw like that. She said, turn it and keep it. She always told us the impurities will get into it or the acid in the end will corrode the table. So even today, when I drink water, I remove the cap and put it like that. This is social skill, which no teacher in class can teach, but everybody can teach. We don't have this in the curriculum, but social skills is very, very important because only that helps you to relate to other people. You are going to meet people from different sectors. It could be in the family front, it could be in the work front, it could be in the traveling front. You might travel by metro, you might travel by share auto, you might travel by your car. There'll be another person in the car honking. You might get angry. You have people begging, knocking, you might get angry, but how do you relate to them? That is a social skill. Help them to have a very good ability to communicate so that I'm telling you, my dear friends, communication is an art. Unfortunately, we think we all know that. No, not all of us can communicate what you think. You might think something, you might say something, or you might think and say the same thing, but you need a filter. What to say, when to say, how to say, where to say, why to say. These all the 5 should be answered. Only then it is proper communication. So you are mentoring your students or the community or whomever you come across to improve their social skills, one, to relate to others and to communicate to others what they're feeling without making the situation worse. Second problem that we need to focus on in children is to help them develop proper self-esteem. Children today have very low self-esteem because unfortunately we have all these advertisement which talks of fair skin, which talks of zero size. And girls get into a shell because they're dark. They assume they're dark. I know a girl who has a beautiful dimple. So when I told her, you have a beautiful dimple, she said, ma'am, do you know what? There is no muscle there. It's actually a pit. I said, how can you look at a dimple like a pit? So see the self-esteem. Beautiful. When people have a dimple, it's so nice to see them. But she said it's nothing but a lack of muscle there. Nothing great about it. In fact, I see it as a defect. So there we see children, and unfortunately, the society is promoting. You need to be fair. You need to be beautiful. You need to have long hair. Nobody talks of quality. Nobody talks of, internal beauty. They're only talking of external beauty. So unfortunately, there is very low self-esteem. Or in the other end of the spectrum, you have people with inflated self-esteem. They have low self-esteem, but they do not want to acknowledge it. They pretend that they are great. If you see a girl who's very fat, she has a very low self-esteem. She's fat. But she does not want to acknowledge it. Rather, what she does, she goes and hogs more food by saying, it's okay to be fat. I know it is nice to be fat. I am not bothered being fat. But the fact is, she is disturbed being fat. But she's assuming she's not worried about it. Yeah? That is one major area that these girls pretend. And even boys, when they're not having a physique, when they don't have a biceps, when they don't have the six-pack, they feel very low. They think they are not in the right frame of physical health. It's not in their how they need to be. So they get more upset. Yeah. So you need to help them develop a proper self-esteem so that they recognize and celebrate who they are for what they are. Simultaneously, they need to develop on it. But first, I should acknowledge. If I have something, I must acknowledge I have it. Then I should see where I could work on it. Not acknowledging will never help you to work. So, as mentors, we need to help them to acknowledge what they have and to celebrate what they have. First, accept, acknowledge, appreciate, then work on it so that you can develop yourself towards success. Mentoring takes a personal interest in the mentoring relationship, whomever you're mentoring. If you're a PhD guide, you and your student will have a very good relationship. Anytime you will call the student and say, you know what, I thought of this point, keep it in your mind, tomorrow we'll discuss about it. Or you will have a group of WhatsApp with 2, 3 students and keep telling them, today there is a conference, attend this, present a paper here, work on this paper. That is a relationship. You feel it is a very good investment or it's a success in being a mentee. It is committed in helping the mentee find success and, of course, gratification in choosing a profession where you help them come out more successful by empowering their strength, their beliefs, their personal attributes. So, a good mentor, you feel great when you've invested success in a mentee. This is one profession I'll tell you where you are never ever jealous of your student coming up. Every other profession, there is jealousy. Teaching is one profession where we are never jealous. We are even very proud to say he's my student. He studied under me. He was in my class. We have so much of pride in saying that. So you're investing your energy on the person. And when you see them successful, you're really very happy. So that is being a very good mentor. You can provide career exploration. Mentors can act as career counselors. You see, in school, you'll have a psychologist or a teacher. Might not have a psychologist, but they have a teacher where the children will go to and they will sit and discuss everything. A lot of brainstorming will happen. No, ma'am, like this, ma'am, like that, ma'am. It is not like this, ma'am. And there is so much of career options open to the child. I remember my daughter was studying in a school where she was a very timid child, very shy child, but very good in sports and studies. She's a very good athlete, probably in class 5. I remember her, teacher, games teacher, who came and told me she'll become a very good leader. I started laughing. Ma'am, I'm a psychologist. You're telling me she's such a timid child. A leader should be a very open person. She must lead. She said, wait and watch. I took her very lightly. But I started exploring more on my daughter. I found in my absence, she was expressing herself. Then I identified probably she's not comfortable because she fears that I might judge her. So I started distancing rather than judging. I told her, okay, these are the options. So what you can do, choose what you are good at. Go ahead and see whatever happens in life, it's okay. We'll always back you up. I'll stand as a bolster. I won't lead you. I will come behind you. You decide what you want. So by 9th standard, she was able to say she'll take up chartered accountants. And today she's a very great leader. She's become a vice president, and I'm shocked to say, at 5th standard, as a timid child, the teacher was able to identify, because the teacher is one person who will act as a career counselor. Knowingly or unknowingly, she's reading every student and she's telling it. Particularly, you can define a different career path for. When I was in college, I remember my mentor, she told me, probably Napine, you are good at this. Maybe you can take up counseling adults. You'll work very good with them. Probably you're very good at marriage counseling. That's how it opened up. When we were brainstorming, nobody did that course then. Nobody did marital therapy then. So you have lot of probabilities that you can come up with, which can become a plan of action by the children or by the students, where they'll definitely have a goal set in front of them with your guidance and with the good source. You will be there to tell them, yeah, you're planning to do this, go there. That is the place where you can go. This is the person who can guide you. You will have a network. I'll tell you, by mentoring, you are developing yourself first. Never think I'm doing it for somebody. Whatever you do is first for your correction. It is self. Only then. If you're teaching self-esteem, you are working on it. If you're teaching communication, you're developing. If you're exploring career options, you are also learning it. You will be supporting your students, not only in education, even to take up some activity. It need not be particularly what they do. They can learn something different. You can become a tutor in telling them take up some other course. You can do something extra. If you're a computer science teacher, you will tell them, why don't you do this? If you're a psychology teacher, you can say them, why don't you do a certificate course on this? If you're a commerce teacher, you can tell the child, why don't you explore this area? More importantly, you need to be enthusiastic in mentoring. It is very, very contagious. It is like Vadivelu's joke. You can laugh and laugh and laugh forever. All the memes you see in Facebook is only based on Vadivelu. So enthusiastic. You talk of any subject, he's there. So your enthusiasm should be so contagious that the mentee captures it and they feel whichever, if you're an employer, they must capture your enthusiasm and work towards the betterment of the company. If you are doing something, it must be so infectious that they take it from you and work towards the betterment, because only then they will find some meaning in what they do and they will give the best to whatever field they are in. Maybe if they're a student, they'll be the best. If they're teaching, they'll be the best. If they're working elsewhere, they'll be the best. So if you're mentoring your students who are professionally placed, also they will be excellent. Your students will pick up from you. They find the potential to create an excellent life for themselves. Yeah. As a mentor, I told you, you can't be an enemy to your mentee. You'll be such a great friend. They will confide everything in you. You will be a confident person with them. They will tell you, we have this problem. You will be bold enough to help them because of your network and because of your knowledge, not simply because you have a deeper knowledge. You have a deeper network of people who can help you. So when they are in crisis, you will serve as a good friend to help them in their day-to-day struggles. Ma'am, I'm scared of COVID vaccine. You will read about it and tell them, boss, this is what it is. Don't worry. I have taken. Come, I will tell you where it is taken. I will stand by your side. Nothing will happen. Come. So many people have taken. Don't worry. So you will instill confidence in the person as how a good friend does. So it is not like you're sitting in a different platform and talking to them. You'll be equal to them. You'll treat them like your best friend. I know we have shared food with our guides. We sat in a group. Today, if you see, we all sit in a group. Wherever I work, we sit in a group, even with the patients, and we eat. And that makes us develop a good relationship with them. You are willing to share your skill, your knowledge, and expertise. What all you know, you will be willing to share. I'm telling you again, you will never withhold any information as a good mentor. You will share everything with them. Content, it is not like I've mentored you once and that's all. Anytime they can come to us and say, ma'am, I have a problem. I have started mentoring students, but still I have a problem. So a mentor, a good mentor, is not only teaching them, but again, who will continuously teach them, will be willingly sharing information and will be an ongoing support to the mentee wherever you are. I tell my students, even after they finish their internship with me, wherever you are, if you want my help, I'm always there for you. If I don't know, I will learn it from my mentor and come and teach you. I will never say I don't know. Use that as an opportunity to grow. I'm telling you, a mentee is helping the mentor also grow as a mentor is helping the mentee grow. So it is simultaneous. Both of us are vertically growing. Maybe your growth is much more, but again, you are not stopping there. You are also growing with them. So the values of the ongoing learning and growth in the field, again, as I'm telling you, it is not like you are in grade 10 when your mentee is coming. By the time he comes to grade 10, he has helped you to grow up to grade 15 at least. So there is an ongoing learning in you and there is a growth in whatever you do. So you are in a position where You will show them what is growing, what is changing. Whatever new is happening, you will update yourself first, which you will share it with your mentee. Whatever things, when I studied, it was like this, but today it is like this. We have a book like a Bible called ICD 11 or DSM 5. Whenever we teach, we tell them in ICD 10, it was like this. When I was studying, it was like this. But now it has changed to this level. You need to teach them how it is ongoing or even changing after many years. There are still new things that you are also learning. So your mentee understands. Just because my teacher has completed learning doesn't mean she's not learning. Every day she's developing herself. So I must catch up with her. I must also grow with her. So you teach them not only to develop a good knowledge and their skill, but to continuously learn. It is an ongoing process. Teaching and learning is an ongoing process. Never can you stop. As a teacher, you might retire. Yeah. As a profession, teaching professional, you will retire. But as a teacher, you will continue to live all your life. Similarly, you might not be a mentor in a college or in a university, but you will be mentoring everywhere in every part of your life. As a mentor, you will demonstrate a positive attitude and you will be a positive role model. That is what I'm saying. If you are a mentor, a very good mentor, your mentee will want to be like you. They will become as you are. I had a mentor who always told me, if your student is not able to answer, that doesn't know he's bad or he's a fool. It shows you have not taught him properly. So he said it is your problem for not teaching the student properly, and it is not the student's problem for not understanding. So if you want to be a successful mentor, you must have an attitude which the mentee will learn from you and be like you. They must have you as a positive role model. Every day when I ask my students this question, I see to it that I get the answer out of them because that is what I learned from my mentor. That was a positive attitude, and he's still my positive role model. I've learned from them. It makes me more productive. It makes you successful. You demonstrate a specific behavior and action which is helping them to succeed in every part of their life in their field that they are in. So, as a positive role model, with your positive attitude, with your knowledge, with your ability to communicate properly, with a high self esteem, see how blended your role of mentorship can be. If you have all this, how blended you are. It is like, you are so fully laden with information, full of energy, full of information, full of knowledge, full of gratitude, full of positivity. If such a person, such a blended, swelling with all information, positive attitude is going to give guidance, how constructive can it be? How proper can the student enrich themselves from you? How beautifully they'll get information from you. You will be providing guidance and you will be receiving constructive feedback. Never feel critical when you get a feedback. I will tell you the best critic is your best friend. Somebody who doesn't want you to make mistakes will find fault with you. I'm again requoting a teacher who told me, after you finish your exam, when we were in school, after you finish your exam, what will you do? You will go through your paper. It is my paper, I'm going through my paper. And I will submit it. Last 5 minutes, they used to say, no, check whether you've written all the answers properly. Yes. But there was a new teacher who came to school and said, imagine it is your enemy's paper. You will only look for mistakes. If it is your paper, you will assume everything is correct. You will assume everything perfect. I've written everything perfect. You will miss out. Whereas, if you look at it as your enemy's paper, you will find mistakes. When you find mistakes, you will correct it. Therefore, you will get better marks. So, accept criticism. Any criticism for that matter is only to strengthen. So accept the constructive feedback. That helps you to grow. Even otherwise, you give yourself a feedback. Find out what is your strength, what is your weakness. I don't have to teach you all, SWOT analysis. Find out your strength, your weakness, your opportunities, your threats. See how you can enhance your weakness into strength using the opportunity. Yeah. See what are your threats, how you can counter with your strength to become successful in whatever you do. It is not only that, what you'll be teaching your mentee also. So you will provide them, teach them that with challenges in life. Again, you will be there to provide them support in professional development. You will be behind them. When they fall, you will catch them so that they don't get hurt. So that is a good mentor. Not that I will walk in front of you. Have you seen an elephant herd? The leader will only walk at the back. It will see to it everybody goes safe. Only then he will come. So be a good leader. A good mentor is a good leader where you will help them to perform and you will stand as a bolster so that they don't hurt themselves. A good mentor is respected not only by the mentee but by his colleagues. You'll always see there'll be few teachers, always students around them. What is this lady? Everybody is around her. That is because you are being a good mentor not only to your particular batch, to everybody. You will instill respect in your colleagues. Everybody in the employment will respect you. You have to respect them first. That is primary. You give and then you take. That is the role of a mentor. Give and then take. So give respect. You will definitely be respected by your mentees and everybody. Mentees want to follow someone who's well respected by colleagues and co-workers and whose contribution in the field is appreciated. All of us want to have a mentor who's extremely well placed in the society. We like to say, for example, any hero for that matter. We don't like a hero who's hardly coming on screen. We all relate to somebody who's very successful on screen. They all go behind him. Yesterday, Rajnikant declares, I'm not going to come into politics ever. This was a written rule for long back. But only yesterday, he again reiterated his statement. There were so many people who went behind him, hoping he'll start politics. None of us will go behind somebody whom we don't even know. So you want somebody who's well known, who's contributed in the field, not like anybody for that matter. Whatever they do, it could be a housemaid's job. She's contributing the best there. She could be a mentor. I have a maid who's my mentor when it comes to household work. The sincerity she does with a smiling face when she does. She enjoys what she's doing. We are cribbing, we are earning more than her. But we crib, what to do today, also college, today also online class. But she's so happy. So that is one form of mentoring. So you choose your mentor who is successful in any field for that matter. Yeah. Again, what do we do? How do we work on the foster community? When you are fostering people, the community swells. One mentee to another person, it is swelling. So you will allow them to ask more questions. Whatever inquiry, you don't know, tell I don't know, I will read about it and come. Be very open in communicating what you know instead of pretending and giving them a wrong answer. Create chances for your mentee to interact with other members. Don't ever say you are my mentee, so you cannot talk with other mentees. No. Allow them. Only then more information, more knowledge you can also learn from them. You will be acting as a sounding board. You will be listening to what they say. You are hearing whatever they say. By saying, they are also simultaneously exploring what they are saying, whatever their ideas are. See, certain things, when it is within your mind, you might not understand. When you write it on paper, it might be different. When you discuss with somebody, it will be totally different. Supposing I tell you, okay, today, can you tell me what are all the problems that you faced during COVID lockdown 1? All of us had many things in mind. But when I tell you there are certain things, this is not a major problem. This is not a major problem. You will write it off. So when you act as a sounding board, you are exploring your mentees to come out with more ideas. So please allow them to ask questions. You listen to them, not like I should talk and you must listen. It should be both ways. It should be very interactive. Let them come out with any ideas. They might be even more creative. They might have more understanding. So help them to develop more curiosity, to discuss with you openly, so that you also understand where we are heading towards, for which you must be in current with whatever is happening. You can't be in your old school of thought. So you must also develop your knowledge. You will be asking questions so as the mentee is asking questions. The mentee's open-ended question will help the mentor to understand what is this person expecting from me. Are my values in tune with his values and his passion? Are we traveling in the same path or different path? What exactly is the problem here? So then you know how to get back to it. So you not only you ask questions to the mentee, allow him to ask questions so that you also know that we both are traveling together in the same path, which makes it easy. Only when you're on the same page, it becomes easy. Sets and meets ongoing professional and personal goal. So you need to have goals in life. What should your goal be? It should be a SMART goal. What is SMART goal? It should be very specific. Yeah, it should be achievable or an attainable goal. It should be a specific goal. It should be a measurable goal. It should be an achievable or an attainable goal. It should be a reasonable goal. It should be time bound. Not like I will do it in 25 years. No, it should be time bound. So you will be setting an example, not only in the subject, even in your personal habits, how I respect others, how I treat my co-professional person. You might be excellent in your subject, but you treat somebody with contempt. How will your mentee treat you later? So what you do, they are doing, they're modeling you. Remember, I told you positive role model. Your children. Don't think I don't have anybody to mentor. You have your children. You are setting a good example for them where they will be reflecting however you are behaving, both in their personal front, in their professional life and success, and in their goals. So you will be helping them to have a smart goal in life. Your values, the opinions, and initiatives of others are very, very important. So when you value others, or somebody's work, you will appreciate the team and you will share the success. Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam was one person. Whenever there was failure, he took it up. He stood up for the failure and said, I am responsible. Whenever there was success, he said, my team is responsible. That should be the value. That should be the value of sharing success. You appreciate the ongoing efforts of the mentee. You empower them. It could be a small role that they have done. Still appreciate them. Give them the feeling that they are capable. They will come out with much more, much more. With your positive feedback and your reinforcement, you are by saying them you are capable. You can do it. Have you seen this? I know this super singer. I think all of us must have seen. Chitra is my mentor there. I learned it from her. She will give all the appreciation and say, அந்த ஒரு இடத்துல மட்டும் கொஞ்சம் கொஞ்சம் அதை மட்டும் ஒர்க் அவுட் பண்ணிக்கோ. That will be a great flaw, but she will put it in a very beautiful form. She will appreciate full of smiles. Even when she gives the feedback, she'll be very, very polite. It should be a proper feedback. Not simply saying, what did you do? Nonsense. What did you sing? Have you heard me sing? She could have told that. No. For a small child, if you see SPB, he will appreciate them singing and say, can you sing it again? That place, excellent. And he will even bow to them. We don't have to be that, with that humility. I know, but at least try to give them a positive feedback, which promotes them to explore more. I'll tell you, today's students and children community have so much of knowledge in them. It is just that they don't have the right mentor to track them. The mentor is nobody, I'll tell you. We are like the banks. They are water flowing. You are the bank. Only when there is a bank, you can generate the best out of it. There is no bank, it will go haywire. When I say banks of the river, only you are shaping them. You are only giving them a proper shape. So with your positive feedback and reinforcement, I'm sure they will come out very successful. So I'm just giving you a rule one of consulting. This is one place where you'll play a mentor. They're very responsible mentors who will be sharing their own business insights gained through your real world experience. If you talk to a consultant, every company will have a consultant. He will come and tell you what to do. A professional consultant will say, this business might grow because today's scenario is like that. This might not grow. So he is experienced, so he will give you an insight from the perspective so that it saves you the time, the resource, everything. So he's teaching you what should be your, based on his knowledge, based on his expertise and experience, from whatever support and potential, based on his goals, he's helping you handle success. So that is the role of a consultant. Yeah, the role, he listens, guides, but he will never give away all the answers. The role of a counselor, this is a person, what we are doing. We guide them, we don't give them solutions. We will be helping them to reflect on their experience, to determine the journey that they have passed with more insight so that they come out with a positive outcome. When you play the role of a counselor and provide guidance, enabling their mentee to figure out the right course of action individually. You will be there as a guidance, not a decider. So you will teach them to understand what is the best that they need to do or what is the least best. Whether they need to do it or not to do it, they need to explore more about it. Sharing this information with your mentor will help them to understand when they need to step in, what is the time that they need to come in and help you to guide. Then comes the cheerleader. First was the consultant, who with all his expertise, his knowledge, previous experience, network, and his goals will help you to reach success. Then you have the counselor, who will be a guidance factor, will be hearing, who will help you to explore yourself and find a solution for yourself. Then comes a cheerleader. A cheerleader, you will see, in any match you would have seen cheerleader. Now, rather than the constructive feedback, he will also give you support and enthusiasm. Well done, excellent, great job. That is what they will always be doing to cheer you from the back. Whenever you start a business, you may have pitfalls, whatever you do, but they will be encouraging you and mentoring you to know what you are, who you are, how they will help you to root. If you see the movie Irudhi Chutru by Madhavan, you would have been an excellent mentor. That movie is about excellent mentoring. He's not bothered about anything. He'll ask you to run. He will give her all that. But again, he'll be a cheerleader. You must celebrate the success of the mentee, whether it is big or small. Give them a small treat. Nothing. Give them a coffee, no? Come, we'll have coffee together. That will make a lot of difference in the life of the mentee. It is a simple coffee of 30 rupees. It's a great thing that you can do in the life. Having a cup of coffee with my mentor, oh my God, it's great. You must celebrate success and tell them you can do it. You are capable of doing it. Yeah. This is where we are all forgetting that we are capable of doing more things. So, time for discussion. If you have any questions, we can ask questions.
Thank you so much, ma'am. It was so wonderful. Hearing sometimes can be raised by the participants. Ma'am is here.
I have few questions. I have also few questions to discuss. Do you have a mentor? How has that person helped you? How have you benefited from the relationship? Yes, there is a question. Ruma Devi, I'm willing to answer your question.
1 second. Yeah, ma'am. You can unmute and talk.
Yeah, good
Ruma Devi,
afternoon, ma'am.
Good afternoon, madam.
Yeah, it was really a wonderful session. It was so good. Even I do the work of counseling at school for 11, 12. Like, ma'am, a peculiar problem which I face is that suppose a child is regarding the still now in our region, I don't know whether it's still prevailing in your place, that a child has to go either for engineering or for medical. But that mindset, if a child changes, the parent does not support him. And to an extent that the child is so scared of the parent that he goes into that particular field and doesn't do very well also in that particular area where he has been forcibly entering it. So that has finally now they are ending up with depression. How to then cope up with those kind of parents? This is a problem which I'm facing every year.
Excellent question. Excellent question. Thank you. Thank you for posting such a beautiful question, Mrs. Umadevi. See, this is not only in your area. This is throughout the globe. I'll tell you, particularly in India, we have that mindset, either a doctor or an engineer. If you say, I will become a dancer, family will say, how can you dance? I'll become a sports person. How long can you play? So the longevity is like, how long you can work and earn money, how long you can be successful.
Exactly.
Success is rated with the money you earn here, unfortunately. But I will tell you the best ways, because they will never listen to us, because parents have a preconceived idea. I am a doctor, my child should be a doctor.
Yeah.
I wanted to become a doctor, I couldn't become, therefore you should become a doctor. See, there are two things. Either I become, therefore you become. I couldn't become, therefore you become. In two areas, they will force. Instead, what I would suggest is you have an interest schedule or a questionnaire which talks of career inventory. Yeah? You can give your students and give a profiling that these are the areas that they are best at. Whatever the child likes will be the best at. Now you give the report to the parent. Anything
Okay.
in paper and pencil, they will believe. Anything
Okay.
done in the form of questionnaire, they might approve. But again, there is a probability they might not believe this also. Don't think, just because I told all
Yeah.
100 parents, no, no. They will throw it. We have no choice. We have no choice. We cannot force them. We can try to tell the probabilities of whatever course the child wants to take, what are the avenues.
Yeah.
I suggest, whatever we have or not, we must have an educational tour. Like you have Anna University, you must take them. Engineering colleges, you must show. You must call people from various faculty to come and talk to the students. Advocates, you must call. Teachers who are very good at dancers, sports people, to talk of the probability, what are the
Exactly.
pros and cons of taking this profession. Then the child will have a clarity.
Yeah.
You can invite the parents also.
Yeah.
That
Sure.
is more important. So it is,
Okay.
again, there will be a group of people, you can't change them.
Exactly. Until and unless the mindset is changed, we cannot do anything. That is the biggest problem. Ma'am, I just want to
Exactly.
share one
Yeah.
case study, like to an extent that my son, we both parents, we are from science stream. My husband is an engineer. So, but was interested in mass comm and journalism, and right from childhood, he writes very well. He's a very good writer as well as a quizzer. So he had opted for your mass comm and journalism. Means to an extent, I gave to them an example that, see, I did not give my son into science stream because he was not interested at all in science. It was a punishment in his class 11th and 12th to take up science, though he has done very well in science. But I had seen him, ma'am, like throwing books of physics, chemistry on the floor after the examination got over. It was a pressure for him. So I
Exactly.
gave I gave them this example also. So, but still then but now my son, touch wood, ma'am, like he's doing very well. He's at Symbiosis. He gets 9.2 also, he got it. But yes, giving that example also, I try to motivate the parents that what I face, see that you all don't face it, but still it did not work. That's what I was thinking of sharing with you, this one.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Any other question?
Thank you, ma'am. Thanks.
Yeah, thank you, ma'am. So, do you all have a mentor?
Hello, ma'am. Am I
Yes,
audible?
ma'am. Yes.
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 Ma'am, actually, I was having one question, and
Please.
this question is with regard to the mentoring of not of the students, but with regard to the adults. As because all of us are just having certain kind of academic positions, and we are having the leadership role with us. But many times it happens that once we talk with the colleagues itself, Like the colleagues, we know that some person is new to the organization. Suppose I am heading my organization and I have been working in the capacity of HOD for past 7 years. But when any new person is coming over there in the department, and this is my endeavor that we should be mentoring them, they should be adopting towards the systems of the organization. But majorly, I feel like few of the people are receptive, but most of the people are critical about it. They say that who you are, like, although they don't say it on face, but I could sense that. Like on the face, they are very good, very polite. Yes, ma'am. Okay, ma'am. Like humble, like anything. But I know that what is going in their mind and how they will just backbite and do the things. And how should we handle such kind of difficult people? It's a part of my job. I cannot forego
See,
that.
yeah, yeah. I'm again telling you, never think how they will react. The sun never shone thinking we are appreciating it every day. It is my responsibility. It is your responsibility as a HOD to show them this is what it is. You take it, you leave it, it is your problem. I will do my responsibility. There will be a day when they become a HOD, they'll recognize, yes, because she did that, it was easy for me. Now I will do it. You might not get an instant result. Continue to do your responsibility. Remember the sun every day. Sun God is the best example. He never shone because you and I appreciate it. He never shines because we smile at him. We half the time we hold the umbrella. Ayo, why is it like this? Why are you so hot? We're only cursing. His responsibility is still continuing. So continue like the sun. When you do your responsibility, you will pave way in the long run, not instantly. So don't bother about whatever their criticism is. You continue to do your roles and responsibilities. That is a good leader. Yeah.
Yes, madam. But although I always try to console myself in the similar manner, but sometimes for short-term manner, like for the short term itself, it gives me discouragement too. That why I am thinking so much of other if the
Ask
other
for
person is
feedback.
not responding that much.
Ask for feedback.
Yes, ma'am.
Ask for feedback from them.
Okay, okay. That is a good idea. Probably I
When you
should
ask for
consider that.
feedback, they can give you, yeah, they might help you. Maybe, see, we might think we are very correct. Maybe there are certain areas we're very stringent about or we're very strict about certain things. There they might say, ma'am, this area when you told you were very rough or rude, whatever.
Yes,
Take up, ask feedback.
right, right.
Yeah,
Thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you.
thank you. So just to go about 2 or 3 more slides, I thought who a wise leader is. Someone who through executive titles, seniority or status within the organization has reached the pinnacle of his or their career. Who's a leader? It's worthy of and willing to impart knowledge and wisdom to others in the organization. They're politically astute individuals. They have a good air of confidence and they understand and they thrive within the organization's culture and practice. Like what Uma Maheshwari madam said, she comes under the wise leader. That is why she's imparting knowledge and wisdom to others. Yeah? And you have reached the pinnacle. If you read from down, it is exactly about you.
Yeah, Meenu ma'am was talking to
Uma
you.
Maheshwari madam.
No, Uma Maheshwari is waiting to talk to you. Meenu Chopra ma'am talk with you. Yeah,
Oh, then it is about her. Then it is exactly about her. If you go from backwards, it is about her. If you read these 3 slides, it is about you. Yeah? Yes.
Uma Maheshwari ma'am, you can unmute and talk. Yeah.
Thank you, ma'am. Ma'am, good afternoon, ma'am. Napinay, ma'am, good afternoon.
Yes, good afternoon.
Ma'am, I have one question, ma'am. Actually, I work as an assistant professor in a college in Hosur, ma'am. Actually, I work in a Hosur. It is in border, Tamil Nadu border, ma'am. You know about Hosur, isn't it, ma'am? See, in those areas,
Yeah,
it is
I know.
our college is situated in town, ma'am, and most of our students are coming from villages, ma'am. Mostly from government schools. Actually, they come to study. They will be traveling around 30 kilometers or 20 kilometers to reach to the college, ma'am. In most of the classes, I found out that the students are not interested in studies, ma'am. In the study, which means that they are interested in getting makeup. Doing all those makeups and all, they are not much interested in studies. Only in the class of 60, 60 or 50 students will be there. I'm in commerce stream, ma'am. 60, 50 students will be there. Only
Mm.
1 or 5 or 10 students will be interested in studies. Apart from that, other girls will be mostly interested in doing makeup and all. And they're very much interested in getting married at the age of 17 and 18 itself. How to encourage them to study, ma'am? Mostly I used to talk to them, but only for my words will be reaching to only to few students only. How to encourage them, ma'am?
Invite speakers, successful speakers who has established themselves in the field, who've come up in life, who thought this is life, but they've come up in a different area, who use education to shine today. Call such experts to talk to them. See, you talking alone, repeated talking will fade off. When you call successful people from outside to talk to these students, what they thought, their perspective of life is totally different, and how successful they are, you can see a small change in them. But again, it is the cultural background of the people, the social setup of the people, which we might not be able to change.
Okay.
Again, I'm telling you, by mentoring, don't expect miracles.
Okay.
You'll be a life coach. You can show them you see, maybe you can't call everybody in person, you need to pay them, then you might not be, you can screen a show of somebody who's come up in life with so many struggles, who gave more importance to education or profession. In that way, maybe out of that 60, if 30 are like this, maybe 10 might change. The remaining 20 you cannot change, because it is culturally ingrained that girls are born to marry and settle happily in life.
Okay, ma'am.
Everywhere you need to tell them, anybody needs to be independent.
Yes, ma'am. Okay. I can get your point.
Profession you take, you need to be independent.
I can get
They
your
need to
point.
understand
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
a successful person is only when you have a career. You must have a profession. Tomorrow
Sure.
you are respected only for your profession, not for your
Yes.
beauty, it will fade off. Yeah.
Yes,
Right
ma'am.
there, you are playing the role of a life coach. Again, now you have the other person who's a professional mentor, who's not only doing what in college, she's even talking about their life. You're talking about what to prioritize, what is the target of the person, what should be the life's target. How they will have to face in the face-to-face environment, what are the problems, what are the services they can offer through telephone or anything. You can be a life coach also by mentoring them. That's what I said. You can call somebody to talk and videograph it and post it.
Okay.
Or even in your monitor, if you have in your TV, you can ask somebody to talk just for 5-10 minutes. Repetitively, if it is done, some change is possible. But again, I'm telling you, cultural belief is always there, particularly from the village. But you need to talk about women empowerment.
Yes,
Talk
ma'am.
about
Yes.
people who've empowered, girls who've empowered, who've come out, who've broken the chains, who've decided life is different.
Yes, ma'am. Okay. I
Yeah.
can get your point, ma'am. Thank you so much, ma'am. And one more
And
question, ma'am. Can I ask you, ma'am?
yeah, why not? Why not?
It is a personal. It's a personal one, ma'am. Actually, I'm asking about myself, ma'am. Sometimes I cannot mingle with my colleagues, ma'am. I used to sit aside and I used to read book. Sometimes I cannot mingle with them. I cannot talk to them freely. I don't know why I'm doing like this, but sometimes it makes me to come outside of that group. Okay, actually they will be sitting in group and they will be talking in our department. Okay, but I don't feel comfortable talking to them. I used to go to library and I sit alone, I read. Why I'm doing this, I don't know. But should I change this attitude or what, ma'am?
See, if there are two things. If it is for self realization, that you go into your shell, you want to think about what you've learned or what you are doing, it is different. It's a good opportunity. But again, if I'm not able to get into the wavelength of these people and I move away, that might not be helpful in the long run. They might not talk whatever we like. That time you can, of course, move out of the place, read something and get back. But again, every time if you start moving out, they might find you a misfit in there. And tomorrow they might not include you when you want to talk to them. You might not like it, it's okay. Still there you can sit. You can sit there and still read some. Instead
Okay.
of going out. Yeah?
Yes,
Fine?
ma'am. Okay, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much, ma'am.
Thank
Ma'am,
you.
I also want to ask a question, ma'am. Can I ask, ma'am?
Yes, please. Yes, yes, Dr.
Ma'am, please,
Am-
Monica.
Mudaveni. Yes.
Am I audible, ma'am?
Yes,
Yeah.
ma'am.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. You can go on.
Yes, yes.
Ma'am, I myself feel comfortable everywhere, but wherever there is a chance for recognition as a leader, my subordinates and other person, they feel that I am a leader, but they do not assign any responsibilities to me. It means I am unfit for it, or I am lacking somewhere. What's the reason behind it, ma'am?
Probably when they say you're a leader, you've not done the leadership role, you've not taken the leadership role.
No, ma'am. For every work, they
you-
told me to go ahead, and I take the initiative and I try to do. But whenever there is a time for assigning a portfolio, at that time my name is not there.
Okay. Probably because you're not assertive.
Maybe,
You're not
madam.
assertive.
Maybe, madam.
See, once you are assertive. See, a leader is a leader always. Like I say, a teacher is a teacher, it's always. You are being a subordinate. They're assigning you work, you're taking.
Yeah.
You're expecting them to assign you a role. Take up leadership. Nobody will come and give it.
Okay,
No
ma'am. Thank you.
leader was made. Leader is born. You should take it up. You must lead them. Don't expect somebody to say, oh, you can become my leader. You can
Okay,
find
ma'am.
an employee. You can say, okay, you will be my subordinate. But you can never say you become my leader.
Okay,
Leader
ma'am.
is
Okay,
somebody who
thank
will
you.
lead on his own. Okay. Yes.
Got it, ma'am.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Yeah.
Kumudaveni, ma'am, you can
Ma'am?
unmute and talk. Yeah.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am. Ma'am, good evening, ma'am. There was an excellent session given by you, ma'am. Thank you so much for your session.
Thank you.
And I have a small a suggestion from you for if some event happens, maybe in the college. I'm an assistant professor in an institution in college, or somewhere in the neighborhood, or some any place, some event, something that disturbs us emotionally, something that makes us an insult, a small insult it may be, but that event disturbs us for a long time. It takes for us for days to recover from that event and take up our regular activities. So what to do to get relieved from such disturbances? It may be a small event, but that disturbs us for a lot. It disturbs our regular activities. We are not doing regularly. We can't see. We forget something what we are doing regularly. So how to recover from such?
One thing is, it is not small. You are saying small, but it occupies so much of your brain and your mind. You are wanting to see it's small, but it makes a big impact in your life because two things. Either I don't like that happening, I don't want that to happen. When it happens against, I'm not able to take it up. One. Two is, I want things to happen this way only. When it is not within the framework of how I want it to happen, we are not able to let go of it that easily. We keep ruminating about it. It keeps going on and on and on and disturbing us that even the smallest work we are not able to focus. So first ask, why am I disturbed about it? Is it that I don't want it to happen, or this is how I want it to happen? Both can never happen because it is not including only me. It is including other people, their personalities, their perception. So that is how things evolve. So when different people with different perception and different personality are there, how can I expect the result to be the way I want? How can I expect the situation to move the way I want? It is not possible. So accept it and learn to move forward by just ignoring instead of asking questions to yourself. Why did this happen? Why did they do like this? Why are they doing like this? They are doing because they are different personalities. They're doing because they have a different perception of life. So they can never think from how you are thinking. Each one has a different thinking. Yes?
Okay, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much, ma'am.
So now you know who a teacher is, who will take the role in teaching, promoting knowledge, giving them information. Yeah, everything is what a teacher does. And we have a team mentor who's, in the team who help them to grow in the organization by sharing their work, their career choices, everything. And we, of course, have a comrade. As I told you, we have one excellent person, the comrade, the confident. You go and he's a comrade where you can share whatever your feelings are. He's like the sounding board. You can go tell anything to that person. He'll be so confident. You can be so confident that this person will help you to work on the frustrations, work on whatever you need to do, whom you can go for advice, anything. He's a confident. He is one person who is knowledgeable, who is willing to take your secrets and maintain it as a secret and giving you a positive feedback. Self-help mentor, you have books, you have articles, you have websites, you have other people with whom you can read about it, whatever they're written, and you have a lot of mentoring relationship with these people. Yeah. So you have an inner mentor within you. As I told you, it is not only outside. It is upon your voice. You need to hear in silence. When you sit in silence, you can hear yourself, which will help you to mold you as a great leader. Helps you to ruminate about your past and find out in future what you need to do. It helps you to take a life inventory. So this is where you need to reflect on yourself, introspect yourself to become a good person. So this is just a preparation you need to take, negotiate with yourself and with the person whom you are doing, enable growth both in you and your mentee. Then you come to a closure by giving them a proper preparation. So like you discover the stage, your personal motivation, ready to be a mentor, build a relationship, a rapport, and create a context of learning with them. Negotiating business by what are the areas that we need to work on, what are the goals, what are the responsibilities, what is the boundary that you will have with your mentee, how do you enable them to grow, having more, there is where mentors, you will have more contacts with them, you will learn, you will be supporting them by learning, by giving them the challenges, helping them to be supportive and leading them, giving them feedback on their goals. Coming to a closure is a reflection stage where you'll assess the value of your mentoring partnership, identify the areas where you've grown and celebrate the outcome. Yes, Uma Madam has raised her hand.
Ma'am, one more question.
Yes, please.
Ma'am, actually, I heard that you are a transactional analyst, ma'am. Can you tell me, please tell me a few points about that? That actually it is a course or what, like, ma'am?
It is a course. It is a course. You can do it's a certificate course where you can, it goes on 3 levels where they teach them it's okay not to be okay. We're talking about the script. As a child, we have a lot of script written in our mind. How we are going to re-script the ones. The wrong scripts that we have are leading to problems. So how we are going to re-script in the right way, and how to work from the adult mode or the parent mode or the child mode to the other person. So these are areas where you are taught in transactional analysis. You can, they conduct in Chennai. If you are in Chennai, you can connect to the T circle. If you put there's a TA circle website. You can contact.
Oh, okay, ma'am. So it will be useful for us to take up this course, isn't it, ma'am?
Definitely, for any human being. I'm telling you, it is okay not to be okay is their tagline. So anybody can do. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you.
Yes. So this is the benefit of the mentee. You are guiding them, you are being them to help them perform, have new ideas, to overcome their weakness and develop their strength, professional advancement, increase visibility and reconciliation, to grow new skills, benefit in investing their time and developing their profession. They become a subject leader of expertise. They have a different idea which is very fresh. They have a professional development. They reflect on their goals and practice. You help them develop proper leadership and coaching styles. Thank you all for your patient listening. I just want to conclude with a small
Not on
story.
time. Yes, ma'am, please.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
I just will take 2 minutes. There's a king who wanted to attain self-actualization. That is, you call it as ecstasy or enlightenment. So he didn't know what to do. He was roaming around. Somebody told him, behind that hill, Buddha lives. He can help you. So when he had to cross the hillock, there was a valley. So he asked his, men not to come with him. He said, enough, leave me, I will go alone. I need to go in search of enlightenment. And I'm going to be Buddha. I don't want you people. And he had to cross the valley where he asked the small boatman. He had a small, rowing boat. He said, can you take me there? That fellow said, no. The king said, I can pay you. He said, you can pay me. But one thing I know is people who have gone there who never returned back. So I will never take you there. The king decided to swim his way. He was swimming, and there was so much of, need to go. Halfway through, he was so tired because he couldn't fight the waves. It was very tiring. He was racing against it. He saw a body, a corpse moving. When it came closer, he saw his face there, fully decked with jewelry and everything it is going. That moment he thought, what is life? It is nothing. He dropped his ego as a king there. He dropped his ego as a human being who can fight anything. He said, I don't need enlightenment because I've reached it. Leave your egos. Be prepared to learn. Being mentoring is also to be a mentee every moment. With this, I thank the faculty of SRM and others for giving me this excellent opportunity. And I hope I've instilled some information in all of you. So with all your questions, I also wish to learn more. Thank you again, madam, for this wonderful opportunity.
Without any doubt, it is an excellent session, ma'am. People were chatting all the information on the chat box. And someone asked for your mail ID, I think Ruma De ma'am.